good morning and welcome. Patriot Radio News Hour on this Tuesday, October the 1st. It is the first official day of the new year for the federal government. So as far as the federal government is concerned, 2020 is here. We'll have to wait a few weeks to find out what the fake total on the debt is. But I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. You know what we do. Wealth insurance, legal, lawful, constitutional tender. Listen, when the tide goes out, you want to make sure you got a suit on, right? You don't want to be out there in all your glory, so to speak. And that's kind of what gold is. Gold makes sure that when and if the dollar collapses, and really think about it now, really, it could be anybody's, right? What if the euro collapses? What if the yen collapses? By the way, we'll get to it. Issues in Japan today with selling bonds, right? We keep talking about it. Don't worry, it's fine, right? It's just dead. Who cares? Nobody has to worry. The website at allamericangold.com. The metals program, man, we are working hard at it. Wendy has been bolted to the shipping room table. I would say we're close. It'll be close. We're going to try to be done today. There may be a few stragglers. Matter of fact, there probably will be a few stragglers, but we'll be done before the week. But easy, right? Wendy has come in early 2 days in a row, which I'm still shocked at because I've been here, like I said, 16 years. She's never come in to work early ever. But again, it was another record. We had 3 more people sign up again yesterday. So October, listen, this starts the new month. Get in on the metals plan. Right? If nothing else, start out at $100 a month. You can always increase it and change that number. If you want more details, go out to allamericangold.com, click on the metals plan. For as little as $100 a month, we ship 4 times a year. I mean, you're getting the physical product. You're the one that's going to be holding it. It is a great, great way to get started out there. Here's some good news, right? I don't think the Democrats have traction on this impeachment. We'll see, right? I don't know, and again, it's my fault. I don't know enough liberal people to really know the usual what I'll call the weak Republicans. Jeff Flake, Mitt Romney, right? All these guys are out and about, but I'm feel good about the odds of impeachment are low. But as Eric said yesterday, forget about $2,000 gold. If they impeach the president, we could see $5,000. But speaking of it, yesterday, right? They hate gold. They hate it. And China's closed. And boy, did you see any of the highlights of the Chinese Golden Week, the festivities celebrating, let's say, communism. I keep saying it, I know, go figure. It's a communist nation. Huh. Funny what happens when you do business with them. Wow. From the military to the new missiles to the amount of people, just incredible. But this is, we call it the Golden Week. There's a very clear pattern that, I got to put it on my calendar now. I didn't realize this. But, you talk about, just taking it out to the woodshed. Beating it. I'm talking about brass knuckles, the nunchucks, right? It's the Sox versus the Socias, and this is the outsiders brawl. And the funny thing is they've been trying to accomplish this over the last, week and a half, ever since the last Fed meeting. And we're going to have all these Fed people out talking about the economy like they actually know anything. And every time, what happens? Actual data comes out, and the beating that gold got, the beating that silver got, gets erased. It happened again this morning. We had construction spending out. We had ISM data out, and they were both bombs. Matter of fact, the ISM data, the worst going back to 07 through 09. And everybody, and again, listen, we're slowing. Here's the problem. It's starting to pick up pace. I know nobody wants to hear it. I get it, right? Let's all pretend we're not. We can do that, but make sure while you're pretending that it's not happening, you're putting a debt. Silver was down again, right? It was looking like, remember what I told you? They wanted gold, $14.50, $14.40. They wanted silver or between $16.75 and $17, because they like their little charts. They love their charts. And then the data came out. Gold's up 18 right now. So we're at 1484 on gold. Silver is up 33 cents. 17, almost 17.30 on silver. And we're just getting started. 800-951-0592. We'll be back right after the break. Eight hundred 9510592. Gold's now up 20, 1486. 800-9510592. U.S. $20 liberties. I'm pretending not to see anything. 1540 on $20 gold today, until I say that it's not. So you're looking at like $54 over spot. Yeah. 800-951-0592. And again, I keep saying it all the time, right? I know what they wanted. Here's the problem. The data just won't work for them, right? Dow's down 300 points. Everybody's now talking about here comes another rate cut. Listen, just let me tell you what's going to happen. Remember the first rate cut. Right? They didn't want to do it. Right? The central bankers, they didn't want to do it. How? I mean, I don't even get, they get more data than I do. I only get the sanitized stuff, right? After they've seasonally adjusted it and moved some numbers around, right? Play all these games and tell us there's no inflation and how great everything is. And they sit there with a straight face. No, it was just a mid-season adjustment, right? Oh, no. This isn't a rate-cutting cycle. No! Don't listen to the fat guy with a microphone. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Believe us. Everything's fine. It's a mid-cycle adjustment. That's all it is. Of course, I told you, hey, listen, they're going to cut rates again. And sure enough, they did. Now, after this last rate cut, right, we're talking tough again. No, we think we're really good right now. And, of course, the beauty of how they do it, they're so good. Give them a round of applause, because these guys are just fantastic at what they do. See, because they know after their little meeting, they don't get a lot of data for like 10 days. So they can sit there and tell you how great they are. Is my phone broken? Is the phone broken? Really? You don't get it, do you? You haven't figured it out yet, have you? Listen, we're not growing at 2%. Sorry. I wish we were. But we're not. Rates aren't stopping here. Right? All of a sudden, I'm looking at all these headlines. Oh, more rate cuts coming. More rate cuts coming. The ISM data that came out today, it wasn't the worst in a year or two or worst data since Trump got elected. No, it's the worst data since the Great Recession. And I got news for you. That data's old. That's old data. It's gotten worse since then. And then construction spending came out on top of it. See, construction spending was bad in July. But they said, oh, don't worry, well, it's going to bounce back in August. And again, it didn't. I wanted it to, you wanted to, we all wanted to, but it didn't. And now, like I said, we haven't picked up since then. The data continues to weaken. We shouldn't be surprised. But what should surprise you is, how do these guys don't see it? How don't they see it? The ones that are in charge of how valuable our currency is going to be are unable to actually do the research. Every one of the Fed governors that has come out talking about, we don't know, we're done, that's it. Okay, we did the first one, that mid-cycle adjustment. You even had a couple say, hey, we shouldn't cut at the last one. Have you called anybody? Right? Have you called anybody? Have you talked to any CEOs in your district? You know what the answer is? No. They're not doing their homework. Right? Because you know why? Oh, well, I'm an academic. I don't care about real world. Let me read my charts. Right? Hey, MIT Mafia, quick, give me some spreadsheets to look at. Hell, and make sure I don't want that actual stuff. No. Get rid of that stuff. Give me the fake stuff and let me look at it. Are you kidding me? Right? They have no clue what's happening. Look at every day, every single day, that Fed window's open and banks need money. Because nobody wants to buy debt. You got to remember, listen, it's not like the banks don't have any money, right? It's just tied up, right? They're just cash poor, right? Hey, all my money's tied up right now, but I've got this collateral. It's good too. I mean, I got U.S. Treasuries, right? I got U.S. Treasuries as collateral. Look at all these great A+ rated mortgage-backed securities that I have. Nobody wants to lend them any money. Now, again, it's a twofold problem, right? It's a twofold problem. The first problem is what? The first problem is simple, right? The other banks don't have any money, right? Well, I mean, I'd love to help you out. We're friends, and, we loan each other money all the time, but I don't got any either. Right? And the central bank, these morons decided, remember when they said we're going to start selling off the balance sheet? Right? Let's not forget, all of these banks were failures, every one of them. And we let Lehman Brothers go under, right? That was a mistake. And then we covered up Bear Stearns and essentially gave the banks unlimited money. And said it was a crisis, it was a national emergency, and of course we were outraged because we didn't get bailed out. Did you get bailed out? You didn't get bailed out. Right? I can't tell you how many of my friends went bust. It was horrible. It affected me mentally. And that's saying something because, let's face it, not the sharpest tool in the shed to begin with. And then they said, okay, you know what? You're right. We're sorry. That was probably not the right thing to do. And we're never going to do it again. We promise. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Remember, too big to fail, Dodd-Frank, the whole 9 yards. right? The whole 9 yards. And, of course, Wall Street clapped and celebrated. And all of a sudden, right, everything was going to be great again. And, of course, you know, that's not a knock on the president. That's not what that is. I think he's trying. But when you look at it, I kept telling you, how long have I told you? They didn't fix anything, guys. I wanted them to. They had an opportunity to do the right thing. And they didn't do it. Because the right thing would have meant, hey, this path that we took you down is a failure. Listen, fiat money is not a new thing. It's not new. It's been going on since, I don't even know, like 1200 AD. I mean, a long time. And they all end up the same way. No matter how many more tools in the toolkit, right, it'll be easier to try to convince people that it's okay. But here's the reality. The debt has gotten so big now that it's taking away everything else. The banks are choking on it. They can't make any money. Look at what European banks are doing now. Right? First, they were only going to charge the people that got $2 million in the bank. Then it went to $1 million. Now it's down to 100,000. You know where it's going. And then how about last night? I was watching CNBC this morning. Nobody was talking about it. You know, everyone wants to talk about the impeachment thing. Listen, you go listen to the other guys. They'll tell you all about it. Japan. See, they got us the same problem, right? They have an issue where they've got to sell bonds as well. Well, their bond market, a huge crash last night as the Bank of Japan made a decision to slash bond purchases. See, I want to tell you what's going to happen at the next Fed meeting. We're going to cut rates again. Right? No mid-cycle adjustment, people. How long have I been telling you? Where are rates going? I already told you. We're going to talk about not even talk about it. We're going to lay out the plans for bring back quantitative easing. How can we need quantitative easing so soon? They just finally gave up on the tightening in August. Right? We've only gone a single month. And they already need to bring it back. This is how far behind these morons are. They should have stopped buying. First of all, they never should have started selling them because the market couldn't handle it. But this program of selling should have stopped in January. That rate cut that they remember last Christmas, the rate cut or the rate hike, I mean. Remember the rate hike last Christmas and everybody lost their mind? Right? They should have been cutting rates and they should have been ending quantitative tightening. They didn't do any of it. Now look at us. Right? Third quarter GDP growth now below 2% and going lower. Now all of a sudden the Bank of Japan, I don't know why these morons think they could get away with it. They wanted to cut their bond buying purchases and all of a sudden chaos struck in the bond market. It was one of the biggest bond routes in recent memory to the point where they didn't think they were actually going to be able to sell it all. This is the type of problem every central bank is having. Right? And this is where your money is? You think it's safe there? Your bank, more than likely, your bank is at the Fed window every morning needing cash. We have a debt that's so large that it can't be absorbed. right? These are all, the warning signs. Right? Think about the dollar as a patient. Right? Oh, God, I don't feel well. Right? Well, what's wrong? What's going on? Well, God, my heart's beating out of my chest, and I got shortness of breath, and my arms all tingly. Right? Those are warning signs. Right? They're warning signs that a heart attack is coming. Right? When you have the ISM data go negative for months in a row, it's a warning sign. When construction spending won't grow for months in a row, it's a warning sign. When banks need to borrow money every single day, it's a warning sign.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, presenting a daily conservative pro-family perspective since 1983 and continuing the legacy of Phyllis Schlafly. Now, from the Phyllis Schlafly Center Studios, Ed Martin.
The mainstream media continues to create a white nationalism narrative around the 21-year-old who shot up an El Paso Walmart in August. But as more details emerge, it's unlikely the perpetrator fits that bill at all. For starters, the accused shooter, Patrick, is a registered Democrat who was critical of Republicans. Politically, Crusius was not right-wing or pro-Trump by any stretch of any imagination. The shooting doesn't seem to be domestic terrorism, but the product of a loner who grew up on video games rather than healthy relationships. Classmates and acquaintances described Crusius as a soulless video game player. Crusius became unemployed, and it's not fully known how he passed his time each day. He cooperated with authorities during the interrogation after the shooting, and officials should release to the public his answers to many important questions. In a manifesto he supposedly posted shortly before opening fire on a crowd of back-to-school shoppers, Crusius refers to Call of Duty, a video game which trains boys to kill and kill again. On another note, one of his few friends was of Egyptian descent, making it less plausible that this killer was a white nationalist. Another student who knew him in school said he never spoke of anything political or talked about guns or had any hatred toward minorities. Instead, the real problem is that Crusius is soulless, as another high school acquaintance characterized him. His crime might be described as one of nihilism, an ideology of despair that has motivated rootless young men toward violent crimes throughout human history. Crusius had no girlfriends and participated in no extracurricular activities in high school, recalled one classmate who knew him then. The sad reality is that violent video games and what they teach our young people don't fit the narrative that the news media wants us to hear. The media will sometimes even ignore shootings altogether if they don't fit the liberal argument mold. On the same weekend as the El Paso shooting, 55 people were shot in Chicago, of whom 7 died. Sadly, major news chose not to cover these tragedies. Instead, they fabricate a narrative and push for violating the rights of law-abiding citizens.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report with Ed Martin, president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. It's time to hear the truth, not the media lies, about gun rights. At phyllisschlafly.com, we've got strategies to protect American citizens, protect ourselves, and protect the Second Amendment. For the latest on the constitutionally protected right to bear arms, go to phyllisschlafly.com. Thanks for listening, and join us again for the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
800-951-0592. U.S. $20 Liberties at $1,540, at $54 over spot at 800-951-0592. We've got a $20 move here in gold. And it's just, again, what they wanted was hey, it's all great and wonderful, and yes, we're ready to rock and roll, and then the data comes out and says, dude, are you new? Are you new? I don't know if you've been hearing any of the President Xi Jinping's comments. Doesn't look like this trade war is well, it'll end when we're ready to give up. That's when it'll end. How about that? 800-951-0592. The president, again this morning, telling everybody to buy gold, and he's not wrong. The central bank does not have a clue. What did I just talk about? He's not, he's right. They don't have a clue. He called them pathetic. Listen, anybody else would be fired. How can you miss this so badly? Let's not forget just that less than 3 weeks ago, they had to open the Fed window for an emergency because lending rates blew up to 10%. What is that? That would have been the end. Listen, by the way, that would have been the end. It would have happened all over again. All these banks would go under. All your money lost. It's gone. There's no FDIC insurance. You do know that, right? By the way, don't worry. They took care of it. They took care of the problem. And I know you don't want to believe me, and that's okay. I don't care. I do care. I do want you to believe me because I do my research. You know, they wrote a little law, another one. And again, when we say laws, there's different laws that get handled in certain areas. Like when we talk about Congress, right? I know a lot of you say, well, that's the laws you think of. Show me the bill. Show me the Senate bill where that happened. The banking laws aren't done in Congress. I mean, some are. Bailouts are. Right? Those are done in Congress. But it's done through the SEC. There's no vote. You don't even hear about it. You know how you get notified? You know the really small print on the back of your statements if you get them mailed to you? That when's the last time anybody ever read those? I literally don't think I can. I mean, even with my glasses, my eyesight isn't good enough for me to be able to do it. But when you look at these things, they decided that, they know that they don't have the money in the bank or the FDIC insurance because they let these banks get so big. You know, the FDIC has, I don't know what the number is now. Let's, 30 billion. Are you kidding me? Right? Vast majority of banks have a minimum of 100 billion, and those are little banks. So they said, hey, the next time, here's what we can do. Instead of giving you your money, right, we'll give you shares in the bank. Now, you can't sell them. But maybe someday later, we'll let you get your money back. That isn't going to help you pay your mortgage, right? Your car payments, your insurance payments. But believe me when I tell you, and these guys, the president's right, they're clueless. Mid-cycle adjustment. Right? Listen, rates are going back to zero, and really, I actually think they're going below zero. But they're going to at least zero. Remember Alan Greenspan? I'm starting to really like this guy again. Now that he's not at the Fed, he just, tells the truth. Hey, zero is just a number. It's kind of like 2% inflation. It's just a number. They made it up. Of course we can go negative. And you think about, like I said, they don't know what to do on interest rates. They don't know what to do about their balance sheet. And they do idiotic things that we now get punished for. The president said in a tweet that Jay Powell and the central bank have allowed the dollar to get so strong. Well, again, and he's right. Oh, hey, we're so much better, right? Everybody else has problems, but we're okay. Yeah, I mean, we're okay because, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, we passed this massive tax cut, and yeah, we get to run a lot bigger deficits than other countries. So yes, but the data was clear. We're slowing down, and if we're not careful, we're going to be back in it with everybody else. And they did this relative to all other currencies. Boy, look at the euro, right? Look at the pound. All of them. The renminbi. It's ridiculous. Interest rates are too high, and that is a fact. They are their own worst enemies. They don't have a clue. Pathetic. Right? And people all get upset. Oh, he shouldn't do that. Listen, you got to call a spade a spade. Right? It is what it is. At the end of the day, they have a horrible track record. They didn't see the financial crisis coming. The most obvious crisis of all time. They never saw it coming. Just since they cut rates, remember we had 2 board members not want to cut rates at all. Since that time, we've had another 3 or 4 come out. We should stop. Wrong. The balance sheet, right, it's going to start rising again, and they're going to give you some crazy reason as to why. And again, always behind. Never wanting to accept things for what they are. If you're not putting away hard assets, you're behind. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. It's worse than I thought. And I know our central banks, they're all clueless. Details now coming in from Japan. Margin calls being instituted. The biggest crash in yields I guess the biggest one-day crash since 2016. I remember that one. The auction was going to fail. It was incredibly tumultuous, but now this one's actually gotten worse. The Bank of Japan, let me tell you what they tried to do. See, they're trying to steepen the yield curve, right? They're trying to get out of this negative yield issuance. So they came out with comments yesterday that, hey, we're not going to be buying a lot of bonds. Guess what? There wasn't enough people there. It worked a little too good. All of a sudden, the whole thing started to collapse, and margin calls were triggered all over the place. They called it the worst 10-year debt auction in years in Japan. They said once it started, it spread outside of Japan, right? And that's what happens. We're all tied together. The collapse being blamed on the Bank of Japan, and of course, when you start to think about what all of this means, okay, this is the whole world choking on it. So let me give you an example you can understand, because they want to make you think this is complicated. It's not. Ask the farmers. The farmers know this lesson really well. I think this is why I would say of any group, farmers are one of the biggest base of gold buyers. They are, because they get it. Supply and demand. Right? You've got, let's pick an apples. There's a shortage of apples. What happens to the price? Right? Guacamole, avocados. Remember? It's an avocado shortage. And all of a sudden you wanted a side of avocado at the Chipotle. And it was like, well, that'll be like $4, please. Right? The price goes up. What happens when it's not a shortage? What happens when there's more avocados than what the world needs? Well, the price collapses. See, this happened in Japan last night. See, they had too much debt, and the world didn't want it. And they had one of the worst collapses in history. Now, nobody talked about it. Shh. Those margin calls. Listen, you didn't hear it on CNBC today. I promise you didn't. But I'm telling you. Because you have the right to know. Why is the Fed window open? And the answer is very simple. We got too many avocados. We got too many apples. There's too much debt. And now it's crushing prices. Which means the institutions that actually hold the debt can't make money. Wait, what institutions hold it? What are they called again? Oh, that's right. Your bank. That's the institution. They can't even sell what they call AAA paper. If you can't get a loan on some collateral that's AAA, is it really AAA? Is it? Can you really grow in this environment? See, these fools, these pathetic fools, did it to themselves. They thought they were so smart. They don't even heed their own lessons. Every economics textbook ever written said, hey, you can't bring rates too low. Because if you bring rates too low, it'll actually do bad things. But it was emergency. So all the world went zero, negative for a decade. And then they tried to claim, remember, and I started this broadcast by telling you, they haven't fixed a thing. Now look at us. Got to cut rates again next month. Well, actually, I think it might be this month, the end of the month. Right? No end in sight. We fixed the debt problem by what? Doubling and tripling the debt out there. And now all of a sudden, we don't have enough buyers. Pension funds are broke. Right? All the pension funds, they're bleeding money. Every year. These pension funds, they were huge buyers. Got less money. Got less money to buy. All of a sudden, the economy's not growing. Right? I mean, come on. Rates are 175. That's probably what the GDP third quarter is, 1.7 maybe. I don't even know if it's going to be that high. And heading lower, and every time the central bank messes up, you get what happened in Japan. You get what happened to us 3 weeks ago. 800-951-0592. Gold is sending you a message. I hope you're hearing it. Final segment coming up. What a difference a day makes. Again, though, when the data comes out, and even the data that came out today, ISM, construction, it's still all adjusted. It's still best case. And all of a sudden now, Wall Street's fall, and of course it's October. We know October is always famous. I don't know why. Well, maybe I do know why, because September made no sense. September, the data was not good. It wasn't. I don't want to it wasn't like it was horrible, but it wasn't very good. And now, of course, we're getting data on the first day. It's getting a little worse. The Dow's down almost 300 points. It's the first day of October. The new fiscal year starts. And I guess my question is, why aren't more people echoing what the president has said? Of course, the president, and I keep telling you, every time he says he's telling you to buy gold. And he's right. These guys are clueless. These are big, big problems. How could Japan let that happen last night? You don't think these banks were calling them up saying, dude, what are you doing? Are you that idiotic? I don't know what spreadsheet you're looking at, buddy. And I feel this way about our central bank, and really our stock market's the same way. Right? It is, we're approaching .com prices again. Really, we are. When you look at these multiples, they're ridiculous. Costco's at 30 times earnings, and it's a retailer. And I granted a good one. By the way, I was in Costco the other day. I don't know if you've been in one, and I don't know when they did it, because I'm in Costco at least once a month with the wife. They got the kiosks now for their food court. Oh, yeah, it's coming. More jobs going away. 800-951-0592. After beating the you-know-what out of gold and silver yesterday for, I guess, Golden Week, whatever you want to call it. Coming back today on actual data, U.S. $20 Liberties at $1,540 at 800-951-0592. Remember what I told you yesterday. This is now a new thing. China shuts for like a week. The Shanghai Gold Exchange is closed. All of that stuff is closed. And gold, this is it. It hits the bottom in the week before and the week of the closure. Within that 2-week period, it bottoms. Now, was yesterday the bottom? It could be. It looks like it may be the bottom because of data. We got jobs out starting tomorrow. If the jobs numbers are weak, which I think they're going to be, that's just what it feels like. I don't mean horrible. I just mean weak. Something under 100,000 jobs, then you're going to see, again, more pressure. I think you'll see gold and silver continue to rally. But remember the best part of the bottom. Within 2 weeks, and this is 6 straight years in a row, gold comes all the way back to where it was before the fall started happening. So that puts gold back at 1540, 1550, 1560. Pick up these 20s at 1540.